If you have ever wondered if monetizing with Google AdSense was worth it, this video is for you. I'm going to go through how much I made, my CPMs, and my RPMs so that you can get a full breakdown of what Google AdSense is like. If you are not familiar, Google AdSense is an ad network that is used by websites or YouTube to monetize their sites and make money from ad companies. I personally have a blog, and that is where I first started using Google AdSense. I've since switched away from Google AdSense, but I did really enjoy it while I was using it. I don't really have too many negative things to say about it, but you can always check out my other video where I was talking about this in more detail. So let's get into the juicy stuff about how much I made. This is what the dashboard looks like. And my first month really monetizing my website was in March of 2024. Now, this was not done very well, if I'm going to be honest, because I just messed up before I was actually ready because I started on Squarespace instead of WordPress, which is the biggest mistake that you can make when you're first starting out. So if you are starting a blog, make sure you go into WordPress and start a blog that way. Do not use Squarespace because this is what happens. You mess up and then you lose money. So if we look at here, I guess the first day that I was monetized was March 6th. So I made $2.67 for my first day. You can see here, like the graph, this is like lowest day was basically $1.35. And then my highest day was $21.74. And obviously when you're first starting a blog, you're not going to have that much traffic. You're not really going to be able to monetize with ads as it is anyways. So this is kind of an anomaly because you're not going to have this kind of, I don't know if success is the right word, or just like the same kind of traffic when you are first starting. I only had some traffic because I had a TikTok following. And so it made it a lot easier to get some traffic to my website by posting on TikTok and leading people there. So in my first month of being monetized, it was $144. So it's not bad. I think it paid for my hosting, my theme, and all of that within my first month, which I'm not going to be upset about because I did end up messing up and needing to switch over, which is why you see the ads stop around the end of March, because then I switched over to WordPress and then started again in April. So then let's bring up the April results, because April was what I feel is like the first month where I actually was making good money. I had decent traffic and was really working on blogging for the first time. You can see here, I started the ads again on April 1st, once it was on WordPress, and it started doing pretty well. So this is what I was earning within the first couple of days. And then I started having some really high traffic days and some just high RPM days. So the RPMs when it comes to ad networks change all the time. So you're not always going to have the same RPM always. So my total RPM, like my ad for the entire month of April, was around $43.88, which is unreal for AdSense. That means every 1,000 views I was getting on my website, I was getting an average of $43, which is really, really good. So if we're looking at my highest day and my lowest day, I think my lowest was probably here, $8.19. Sundays are always pretty low for me. And then my highest, I think, would be here, which was $105.41 in one day. So I'm not mad about that. This is all essentially pretty much passive income. And I think that this is pretty good for all of April. You can see like the graph and how much I was making for a total of $1,668.82 for the month of April. I have May, which is way more consistent and so much better when it comes to like RPMs. You can see the average overall for RPMs was around $62.19 for the entire month, which is just ridiculously high because when people talk about AdSense, they don't talk about these high RPMs. They're not normally around this number. So I had RPMs all the way up to $70, which is great. I just saw $94. So you can see this graph here, just looking at the estimated earnings on the side and how much that went up for this table. So, I mean, most days were around between like, I don't know, $50 to $30. And then we have this day, May 22nd, where I made $357.56 in one day with ad traffic. So that was really, really good. Wasn't expecting that. I think I had a viral video on TikTok that got like views, which is probably why I got all that traffic. And so you can see here the total for my ads for the month of May were $2,112.87. That is how much I made from my blog. I have now since moved over to Journey by Mediavine. Honestly, the RPMs are lower than what I was doing with Google AdSense, but I know it's still ramping up and it's a newer ad company. I think this was pretty unusual for Google AdSense, to be honest. I was just having good luck with it. I don't think it would have stayed consistently like that if I had stayed on Google AdSense. So the total that I made from Google AdSense for the 3 months that I was on Google AdSense was $3,926.35, which I think is really good additional income. So that is how much I made on Google AdSense for the 4 months that I was using it to monetize my blog. I did really enjoy it. I did think some of the ads looked a little bit spammy. It's not as good as some of the more premium ad networks, but it was definitely worth it while I was using it. If you want to see more videos like this one, make sure you subscribe and like this video.